Yeah, he was. I want to welcome you to the DeKalb City Council regular meeting of April 13th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Zazada.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Burbick.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Mayor Barnes.
Here. All right, at this point, we want to move to the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with Captain Hy-Vee, please. All right, thank you, Captain Hy-Vee. Good luck tonight at your trivia. All right, moving on to agenda item C, approval of the agenda. I would take a motion to approve the agenda as is.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. Any comments or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Larson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Burbick.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Zazada.
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. Moving on to agenda item D, presentations. The first one, we have a National Public Safety Telecommunications Week presentation. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas emergencies can happen at any time and require immediate police, fire, or emergency medical response, and quick dispatch of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is vital to protecting life, property, and public safety. And the safety of these responders depends on the accurate and timely information provided by the City of DeKalb's public safety telecommunicators. And telecommunicators serve as a critical communication link for police, fire, and medical personnel by monitoring their activity, providing essential information, and helping ensure their safety. Telecommunicators support daily public safety operations, assist in apprehending criminals, help suppress fires, and guide emergency medical care. And each telecommunicator performs their duties with professionalism, compassion, and dedication. And April 12th through the 18th, 2026 is recognized nationally as the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week by the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials and the United States Congress. Therefore, I, Cohen Barnes, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of DeKalb in recognition of the telecommunicators whose dedication and professionalism help keep our community and first responders safe. Can we get a round of applause for our telecommunicators? And with that, I see some familiar faces. Can we have you all come up? And Chief, it's part of your department. If you want to come up and get a picture, that would be great. We would love to. Chiefs, yes, I'm sorry. Come on, Luke. Three chiefs. Everything you all do is awesome. Thank you for it. Yeah, this is great. All right, we got to squish in. What do you think, Scott?
All right, that'll do it. All right, we'll do 2 in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Can you all imagine 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you dial 911, and who picks up the phone? They do. That's a heck of a job and a heck of a responsibility that they have. All right, we've got second of 3 proclamations. This one is Disability Book Week. So whereas disability is a natural part of human diversity, yet people with disabilities remain underrepresented in literature. Disability is shaped by social barriers rather than individual medical conditions, making inclusive community environments essential. And public safety awareness often addresses other forms of inclusion, while disability inclusion in literature remains limited and is too often carried by those personally affected. And a greater awareness requires everyone to recognize and learn about the systemic barriers that restrict equitable experiences for people with disabilities. And equitable inclusion is a matter of social justice and a shared responsibility. And Disability Book Week promotes inclusion by highlighting disabled authors and characters, advancing literacy, and helping all readers see themselves represented. And Disability Book Week encourages schools, libraries, and the public to recognize the contributions of people with disabilities whose talents and experiences enrich communities. And citizens should acknowledge the diverse experiences of people with disabilities, recognize the barriers they encounter, and support full inclusion for all, including individuals with developmental disabilities. Now therefore, I, Cohen Barnes, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, do hereby declare recognition and celebration of Disability Book Week from April 19th through the 25th, 2026 in the City of DeKalb. Can we have a round of applause for all of our authors out there? So, is there anyone out there to receive this proclamation? All right, hearing none. I will move on and we'll make sure that gets to the right person. Our third and final proclamation is Arbor Day, April 24th, 2026. So whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture set aside a special day for the planting of trees. And this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our community increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the City of DeKalb is a supporter of trees, being recognized as Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in 2025. Now therefore, I, Cohen Barnes, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of DeKalb and encourage all residents to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts that protect and preserve our community's trees and woodlands. I further urge everyone to plant trees that will uplift the spirit and contribute to the well-being of current and future generations. I'm not sure if we can give a round of applause to trees, but how about everyone that support Arbor Day out there? Is there anyone in the audience to receive this proclamation? All right, awesome. I love it. Scott, did you want a photo or anything on those to propagate, or are we good? All right, wonderful. All right, moving on then to number 4, another pause for patriotism, and I'm going to call our city manager up to the podium. For those of you that might be new to this, so it is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And what we've done at the City of DeKalb here is before every meeting, we take a pause to recognize the signing of such a significant event in our history, but more importantly, our own city manager has his doctorate in history and is an avid American history fan, studier, professor of, but he likes to school us every council meeting. Not school us, but share with us. Seriously though, share with us what allowed us all to be here tonight and have the experiences that we have. So city manager, I cherish every one of these, genuinely. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, we've got a full house tonight.
We do.
And we usually do. And I try to compress already compressed thoughts because of that, in respect to people who are here for other reasons tonight. I'm going to do that again tonight. I'm going to start, for those that haven't been coming regularly since January to your meetings, and twice a month we meet, roughly every other Monday. And we started with, in 1776, and we're into the 1850s now, and there's method to my madness. We're going to get to June, and then we're going to arrive at the onset of the Second American Revolution, which was basically among the issues that were before the nation at that point were, are we going to go further than the original framers of the both of the Declaration and the Constitution were able or willing to go in terms of bringing the promise of that famous phrase, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to everyone. And there are some answers to that, and maybe they're not sufficient. And whether we go further into the year, I got another revolution to tell you about, but let's tonight be very brief. How could I have missed this? But I have a little something for you. It's already in the background, and we put this in the background so that those of you who want to come here sort of primed for what is on the council's agenda, you can see what I'm going to talk about. And tonight, we're in the 1840s, heading into the 1850s, and heading toward the Great Civil War. But it was on this date in American history, 283 years ago, and I think this is apropos, Thomas Jefferson was born. And it's interesting that just before he died, and we talked about this 4 months ago, he and John Adams, two of the framers, died on the same day, exactly 50 years after the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. But within about a week of that, in his last recorded breath, he was mulling or musing over what it was that people would remember about the Revolution. And he had reached the conclusion that people would never really know what was at stake, as much as they'd like to, and not meaning to diminish the astuteness of his then contemporaries. But he said the living through it, the chances taken, the risks endured, and the losses that were braved are just almost beyond our ability to describe. And so has been my challenge over the last 4 months. It's hard to bring life, as I'm trying to do tonight, to the Compromise of 1850. How many live and die for that? Not many. But it was a step along the trail to a coming to terms in a very violent way through our Civil War at mid-19th century, toward grappling with the incomplete portions of the Revolution of 1776 to 1783. So while we're detached from this history and we're trying through individual stories to get just a little flavor for what was at stake and whether we would do something like that or not, it's just very hard to grasp. But I am going to give you a couple things which I think we can grasp, maybe a little more than some other things. Tonight I just wanted to talk very briefly about some small voices with big impacts. And everyone in this room can have a big impact at different points in their life. It takes, in some cases, study. Sometimes it takes courage. Sometimes it just takes a lot of dedicated and enduring effort towards something. One of those people we have talked about before, we talked about John Quincy Adams. Now, he was born to a prosperous family, but he kind of paid his dues. We talked about what he did. This is John Quincy, his father, John, kind of hard to grow up in that family. But when he was 8 years old, he took him on a sailing ship to England in the middle of the American Revolution to help him, to be with him as he was trying to gain support from the French and the Dutch in behalf of our war for independence. And he didn't have enough of that, and about 5 years later, he went on his own as a young teen to Russia as our plenipotentiary representative to that country to talk about who we were, what we were, and why they might be able to ally with us in some fashion. He later became a senator, Secretary of State, President of the United States, and in 1831 he decided he had not had enough, so he ran for Congress, and he died in Congress in 1848, which is where we pick up today. A couple other things happened around the same time. While John Quincy was talking in the rather peaceful environs, still rather peaceful, of the U.S. Congress. There were others who were taking great personal risk. Frederick Douglass was not alone in this, but he is one of the more articulate of persons who had been enslaved. On the 10th anniversary of his escape from slavery, he wrote a letter in his weekly newspaper, the North Star, in which it was symbolic, of course, he didn't have his former master in front of him, but he lectured him about the natural right to self-ownership. And he said, "I am myself, you are yourself, we are two distinct persons, equal persons. I am not by nature bound to you, or you to me, but I wear stripes on my back inflicted by your direction." A powerful statement. While he was making those statements in the media, though another person who was born a Maryland slave, Harriet Tubman, was doing something just, it's hard to imagine the courage and the risks that she took. She escaped to freedom in 1849, and then she returned to the South to help other slaves escape. 19 times to the deep South, not like over the river and into the woods. And by the late 1850s, she had brought out over 300 slaves, including her parents and family. And while she was doing that, better known at the time, writer was moving in the direction of writing a story about what, from her status, what she considered to be the cruelties of slavery, and that was Harriet Beecher Stowe. She married a widower whose last name was Stowe. She moved to Maine from Ohio. Her husband accepted a post as a teacher at Bowdoin College. Interestingly, at the same time that her husband was teaching there, there was a fellow by the name of Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, the hero of Little Round Top, who was a student there studying religion. But she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, and as we look at it from our vantage point today, we think, oh, this is interesting, it's moving, it's not as literary as things that we might pick up today, but it had an impactful effect on opinion, at least in the North. Well, actually in the South too. In the North, her book at that point sold more copies than any other book. There were people who were naming their babies Eva, one of the characters in her book. In the South, obviously, the book was ridiculed as being out of touch, slanderous, and incendiary. There was something called the Underground Railroad. We don't have a lot of great sources on that because people who were conductors helping people escape slavery to come north would have been hanged if they had been caught. So not a lot of people were leaving their signatures on things. There is, and some of you know our local history. If you've been to the DeKalb County History Center, you'll be able to see what our role was, this county. But there were people who were escaping and trying to dodge bounty hunters, slave catchers as they were known at the time. Because at that point, not only were slaves returned to bondage if they were caught, but persons who harbored them were summarily punished, oftentimes hanged themselves. And while all this is going on, America was growing and it was moving west. And that provided opportunities for people who wanted free soil and were against slavery, but not necessarily in favor of equal rights. It was also opportunities for people who owned slaves to expand to the west, where more opportunities were available to them and their agricultural businesses, again, all because of the slave labor they had. And the contest over the West created what ultimately became as the preconditions for the Civil War that we know from the middle of the 19th century. The Compromise of 1850 is important at vantage point for just a couple reasons. Like a lot of things we're even seeing today, in a divided Congress, it didn't last as a compromise. It's tried to set forward some terms that would prevent a collision over the issue of slavery. It was not successful in that way. And in the next 2 meetings, we're going to see why. So that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you for being patient.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, City Manager. All right, moving on to agenda item E, public participation. We've got a few requests here. First of all, let's bring up Danita Sims. Where are you? There you are, Danita. Woo!
Well, thanks so much. It's so good to see everybody working so hard on a Monday night. What's also happening this evening, I'm the Director of Programming and Community Development for Opportunity DeKalb, as well as the lead instructor for our Breakthrough Community Business Academy. And we actually moved our classes for this cohort right upstairs, so on the second floor, and we thought we'd come down. We have some of our class here. These are local entrepreneurs that live in the county. They each have businesses that have been in business for quite a while already, some food trucks, some service, health and wellness, and we just wanted to come say hello. We're right upstairs working hard to make sure our businesses are legitimate and profitable.
Woo, profitable, that's good.
Which I know this group here would completely understand. So we just wanted to come say hello. We were in the same building, and you guys get back to doing your business.
And Danita, thanks for all you do. We know, Chad's an amazing guy, helped with driving a lot, but I see you everywhere. I know you're carrying a ton of water, and just want to say thank you. And I know a lot of people in the audience are thanking you as well for the work that you do. With that, Chad, you want to follow up to that? All right.
So good evening, Mayor, Council. For those that don't know me, my name is Chad Glover, and I'm with Opportunity DeKalb and Breakthrough Business. Sometimes we're lucky to meet our heroes. Some of mine are standing right behind me. I spend my time in our community working alongside people who are trying to build something, a business, a career, a better life for their families, often starting with very little. What I've learned from that work is that the people closest to the challenges are usually the ones with the best ideas for how to solve them. But they're not always the ones who get asked. There are decisions being made every day in communities like ours about economic development, about where resources go, about what gets prioritized, that shape people's lives for years to come. I believe those decisions are stronger when they include the voices of the people who are most affected by them, not as an afterthought, not as a box to check, but as essential partners in the process. That is what our organization tries to practice every day. We listen to the people we serve, and we let them prioritize and guide our work. We've graduated 3 cohorts of entrepreneurs from our business academy. You meet the 4th right behind us, who graduate this June. People from our community who are building businesses that serve their neighbors. We built partnerships with the city, with NIU, with Kishwaukee College, and organizations across the country. And we've done it all by starting with the people who live in our community, most particularly in the Annie Glidden North neighborhood. I'm here tonight because I believe there are people in this community who see things the same way. People who believe that the best economic development happens when the community is leading it. People who believe that residents and entrepreneurs and small business owners have something to contribute to the conversations that shape their neighborhoods. If that's you, I'd like to know you. Our work is an open book. Anyone who wants to know what we're building and why is welcome to reach out. It does not matter who you know. It does not matter how much money you make. If you care about the future of this community and you believe in the people who live here, have something that should have a hand in shaping it, we want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Thanks for coming out, y'all. All right, then I have Lorraine Dixon. Lorraine, are you here? Oh, hello, Lorraine.
Hello.
Yeah, just so you know, and I should have said it to the others, you've got 3 minutes to
Okay.
share everything you want to share.
Okay, do I give this to you all now, or do I wait?
Probably, well, give it to us afterward.
Okay.
So you get your opportunity to speak, and then we'll know what that is all about, and we can read that later. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Okay, good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Lorraine Dixon, and I'm a proud resident of DeKalb for the past 9 years and the mother of 11 children. My family and families like mine are deeply invested in this community where we live. We grow here, and we want to continue to build in a city that supports the health and the well-being of the residents. DeKalb is a beautiful growing community. However, one gap I have observed is the limited ability of self-affordable and engagement recreational spaces for our youth and families, especially in the evenings and on the weekends. When those options are limited, families are left searching for positive alternatives. This is why I'm here to propose Sunshine on Wheels, a roller skating facility designed to serve as a safe, supervised, and welcoming environment for our community. Organizations such as American Heart Association recognizes skating as a form of acrobatic exercise that supports health and overall wellness. But beyond the physical benefits, spaces like this foster something equally important, a sense of belonging. Roller skating is more than just a recreational. It is an opportunity for young people to stay active, for families to spend meaningful time together, and for our community to create jobs and supporting small-scale entrepreneurship, and drawing visitors from surrounding communities who are also seeking positive recreational options. As a resident and a parent, and someone who believes deeply in the future of this city, I am simply presenting an idea, and I'm offering a commitment to do the work to continue growing of DeKalb in a meaningful way. I respectfully ask for your support and your approval to move forward with this project. Together, we can create something that not only fills a gap, but strengthens the fabric of our community. Let us give our residents, both young and old, something to look forward to, something to belong to, and something that reflects the best of DeKalb. Thank you for your time.
Hey, Lorraine, this is a topic that comes up quite often.
Thank
And what
you.
I want you to do, I'm going to give you my card. I want you to email me. I'm going to put you in contact with the DeKalb Park District.
Okay.
You need to go and present to them as well, and you need to form a connection, because they're the ones that could really help drive that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to speak for city council, but this topic comes up a lot, and I would
Oh, okay.
love to see a skate rink here back in the city of DeKalb. So I
Okay.
think you're going to find a lot of support, but the Park District's the one that's really going to be able to help you move the needle.
Okay.
So email me. I'll put you in contact with all of them, and hopefully that's going to help you move this forward. And I'll take those from you right now.
Thank you so much.
Disco, right up my alley.
I know. We were just talking, I mean, many of us remember the skate rink here in the city of DeKalb. Oh my gosh, spent all kinds of time there growing up. Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item F, appointments. Number one, do we do these one by one or in omnibus fashion? One by one? All right. Number one, appointing Lori Brown and Nick Dory to the Citizens Environmental Commission, both for 2-year terms ending December 31st, 2027. Can I have a motion to approve these appointments?
So moved.
Moved by Alderwoman Larson, seconded by Alderman Powell. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Lori Brown and Nick Doria have been appointed. Moving on to number 2, appointing Bill McMahon as Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2027. Can I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
What did I miss? Oh. Motion by Smith, second by, Alderwoman Zazada. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
They stepped out.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Roll call on appointing Bill McMahon.
Walker,
Bill McMahon to the Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Good old Bill. Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. So Bill McMahon is now the Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I've got to give a shout out to Max Maxwell, who chaired the Planning and Zoning Commission for a number of years. His support of that organization and everything that he did is just absolutely greatly appreciated. And it's awesome that we've got another person willing to step up to such a important role in our community in the form of Bill McMahon. So then we have vacancies on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the next one, number 3, is appointing Brian Shally to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2030. Can I have a motion to approve Brian Shally?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbic, seconded by Alderman Carlson. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Brian Shally has been appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Moving on to agenda item G, consent agenda. Number 1, minutes of the regular city council meeting of March 23rd, 2026. 2, accounts payable and payroll through April 13th, 2026 in the amount of $3,722,041.17. 3, investment and bank balance summary through February 2026. 4, year-to-date revenues and expenditures through February 2026. And 5, Crime-Free Housing Bureau report, March 2026. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
You got it, Chief? All right. I have a motion by Alderwoman Zazada, a second by Alderman Powell. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. All right, the consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to agenda item H, public hearings. We have none. Agenda item I, considerations. Number 1, consideration of a proposed entertainment district in the Central Business District. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Zazada, seconded by Alderman Walker, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we're crawling toward warmer weather on a consistent basis, and this time of year, one is reminded of some of the fun things that people can do in a vibrant downtown. For a number of years, there has been conversation about the possibility, and here we've entitled it an entertainment district, but without maybe that title, people have been talking. These are downtown merchants, members of the city council, city staff, visitors, and so forth, about, are we planning to do something like, and then they'll fill in the name of a community to our east in King County or DuPage County. And we've thought about this in the past, and the framework for it has a number of examples as we go east of here. None of them are exactly alike, and what's good about this council and this community is that we like to put our own handprint on how we do things. What's proposed here is just a rough framework for a pilot program that's proposed for this year. Could look at it at the end of the calendar year, and one of the suggestions was if you approve something like this or something like it, then we would bring it back to the council, say in December, you know, how'd we do? What'd you think of it? What was the impact of it? Good, bad, indifferent? So what's being proposed here is to create kind of an entertainment time in the geographical boundaries that are defined in your background for people who didn't have a chance to see that. I don't know if we have a slide, but I'll just describe it. The proposed entertainment district would be bounded on the west by the east curb line of North First, on the north by the south curb line of East Locust, on the east by the west curb line of North Fourth, and on the south by the Union Pacific right-of-way. There's one exception to this geography, and that's a cutout that would be included for the Grove Tavern. And what's this about? This is about allowing persons in this defined area, patrons of participating businesses, to carry a single alcoholic beverage in a city-approved branded cup. And this approach is intended to increase pedestrian activity, particularly from late afternoon into the evening. This is not an overnight, all-night type of thing. And within a safe, structured environment, this is obviously circumscribed by the geography that I mentioned. And it includes the businesses that would be potentially the participants. And in your background, you see roughly a dozen of the licensed liquor establishments that might want to participate. This is not mandatory, it would be voluntary. And there are details here in the background. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm happy to answer questions as we get into conversation. But the businesses would, in effect, be opting in. They would register with the city. They display city-issued stickers or signs to indicate that they are participating on a front door or window. Also, there would be some indication of the extent of this entertainment district for people who are just visiting us and don't know how far can I go with this. A couple of other things to keep in mind. So this one alcoholic drink would be given to persons who are obviously 21 years of age or older. And how do you know that? Well, the same rules would apply to carding as they do as you go into these licensed establishments. People who would have a container in their hand would have to have a wristband. And these wristbands, by the way, are the ones that don't last for 3 months so that they get reused potentially by people who shouldn't have them. They're the paper ones, and if they're tightly on there, you have to cut them off, and they're not good except for that day. The operating hours, of course, if you like this idea, it would be up to you. What we've suggested Monday through Friday from 4 in the afternoon to 10, and Saturday and Sunday maybe go from 10 to 10. That's variable. It's up to you. And these would be for sales of these branded to-go cups. And those cups could not be sold after 9:30 at night, so that not unlike what happens in a licensed tavern where they have a last call and you know, they expect you to be done by roughly the end of that evening. So again, there are examples that you've seen. Some you've already known through your visits to other communities. Expenses would not be significant, pretty minimal actually. We need some municipal code changes before anything like this could be brought back. And I'll stop there because you've probably thought about this and want to talk about it.
Okay. Council, comments, questions? Alderman Walker.
Hey, first of all, you know, I will say I like the idea, you know, and I support it, but could we also maybe piggyback a little bit, like, for example, we're calling it an entertainment district, if I'm not mistaken. So, although I'm cool with this, I mean, you know, there's adult time, you know, like, for an example, I like painting pictures for people. So you go to El Jimador's and you eat, then you maybe want to go dance with your wife. So could we, and I don't know how this works, so please explain it to us. Could we somehow, some way block off the Van Buren parking lot like every Saturday and maybe have some type of live entertainment as far as DJ and have all kinds of genres of music, you know, depending, weather permitting, of course, and be able to block off maybe north North Second and North Third and East Locust a little bit, just have people kind of roam around that area for a little bit, and maybe extend the drinking hours to maybe 11:30 or 11 o'clock. You know, I'm not the police or the city manager, I don't know the rules with that, so I just,
All of this, I mean, so we're setting up the, with what's before you tonight, the framework for a licensed liquor
Right.
exchange. But if there's support by the businesses, by the council, obviously, ultimately, but by people who can make things happen, there's a lot of things that could be done on a regular basis. You go into some of the downtowns, east of here, there are streets blocked off, and they during again the warmer months, and if there's now that's effort, it's time, and it's money, and you know there's staffing and all the rest of that. So this is one. We could script it all we want, but the doing of it is going to be up to people who are invested in the business and are looking to provide those opportunities so there's more social time rather than just walking around from one place to another, so.
Yeah, can I chime in on what you're saying? So like Utica, a small town just south of us, if you go down there during the summer, they block off a section of the downtown. Now it's a small town, right? But then all the restaurants and bars extend out onto the street. And you have this really cool entertainment expansion during the summer months. I think what city manager's saying, I mean, and I think all of us, I mean, especially with permits, they're out there to make that happen, but we have to have someone that's gonna drive that. I don't think Scott Zach's willing to start being our entertainment director over the summer, but if there were organizations out there that literally wanted to really take on the responsibility of getting the DJ and doing those things, I'm on board for shutting down the streets to do exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
so, you know, I don't,
Yes,
so
please.
I don't know if, you know, because I'm stealing this from the University of Illinois, you know, in Champaign-Urbana, you know, my wife and I, is where she's from, but we went down there and you wouldn't believe the college and the community, they come together. And let's be honest, we've been waiting for McCabe's and all these other places to just pull out a rabbit out the hat that's not gonna probably get pulled out anytime soon. And NIU's not doing any better as far as getting students. I just believe that if we start thinking outside the box and trying to do things of this nature, maybe, you know, it'll kind of put a buzz around, you know, our town, because we could have people from Dixon, Rochelle, Aurora, just saying, hey, you guys been out to the Cab lately? Then that turns into,
Yeah.
hey, maybe I want to go to NIU, look into it. So I'm just saying we can't keep going a status quo, hoping and praying that we get a big investor to come put, you know, a nightclub or things of that, you know, scenario downtown. Sometimes we just got to go out and do it ourselves.
Well, and I think this is a huge first step towards that. If council passes this opens the door. Can you imagine all the bars and restaurants downtown that you might have, like El Jimador? I mean, talk about what they do for Cinco de Mayo is awesome. What if a couple of them say, yeah, we're going to do this over the course of June or June and July or whatever. This is what we want to do. If they came before council, I'm totally on board with that. But we need some people, we need some champions. But the first thing that we can do is open the door to allow something like this to facilitate, hey, this is a great idea that we have. Who's going to run with it now? Yeah,
And city manager can listen to Beethoven one night.
exactly. We'll get that in the ordinance somehow, yeah. Yes, Alderwoman Larson, sorry.
Okay, the realist is now
Oh,
going
here
to
we go.
talk. I'm all for this. However, I need some clarification, like what happens at Corn Fest? What happens at NIU Homecoming? That's the one thing. Are the merchants, great, let's close Van Buren. Wonder if Egyptian has a show. Wonder if other people are trying to go to dinner down there and now there's not another parking space anywhere around because the streets are closed. So everybody has to be on board, not just a nice couple who likes to dance. So that's a problem. And who's going to make sure these cups get left and don't get, I'm not sure if it's a problem taking them home. I think we've got more concerns than, it's a great idea, but I
Yeah.
think we have a lot. Before I would vote on this, which I'd vote yes if things were clarified and regulated, but this is pretty open.
The beautiful thing is we have the city of Rockford that we can draft in their wake. We have multiple communities in the western suburbs that have already done just this. that are going to allow us to, and the City Attorney Rose has already looked at some of those draft or those ordinances that are on the books. We've got examples that are happening in the surrounding area of just this particular thing, and I think anyone that travels, I mean, everywhere I go, this is it. I mean, you go downtown in these places, this opportunity to, I'm going to go out to dinner, I'm going to hang out, and you know what? I'm going to take my drink to go, and I'm going to go to the next place. That facilitating that just creates I don't know if you said it, I'm thinking of it, but a good vibe in the community that really allows people to, when they come to the community or live in the community, to enjoy a great night out. So we have examples all over that we can reference that have already done this, already experienced it. And I've personally, on the board of directors of IML, talked with mayors and asked them, like, hey, when you implemented this, what was it like? And he's like, a non-event kind of thing. He's like, we thought, and our chief thought, no offense, chief, I mean, you've got your perspective and we got to weigh in, and public safety is incredibly important, but it turned out some of the angst that was associated with it didn't play out after implementation. So we do have a lot of great examples that we can lean in on for that.
Who does the farmer's market? Back to
Chamber.
Chamber, so that would be more their area. I guess our biggest problem is we've got a major highways on both sides, that, because we can't just close down 38
No,
without the
yeah.
state, right?
Yeah, we're not talking, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even there. We're just talking about me being able to take your drink, not worried about
Yeah.
closing down
No, I
yet.
was
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
going from the
yeah.
dream to the reality, okay.
Yes, exactly
All
right. But
sounds
no,
good.
working with the Egyptian, working with the Chamber of Commerce, absolutely, all the stakeholders on how can we make this successful. But the first thing we can do is eliminate this being a limitation of future events potentially. Alderman Carlson.
Alderman Burbick was ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't,
Just to dovetail Alderman Larson, from a standpoint of enforcement to city manager, do you have any comment on what enforcement may look like? We've had recent discussions about concerns of people gathering in our parking lots downtown, so I could see this somewhat encouraging that practice.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, Chief and I have talked about this. This is a challenge for, we'll have to have people who are in the downtown, some of our officers. And now, we have for a long time been committed to community policing. This is sort of at the heart of it. It's not just walking streets that are empty. It's, being a presence in a commercial area that is looking for some bounce, and it can all be. I mean, obviously we work the bigger events like the Corn Fest and so forth. Of course, there's a lot more people involved, much wider use. But every Thursday, pretty soon, I'm looking forward to it. We'll have the chamber-sponsored farmers market, and we have a presence. You don't see people, but because we're just trying to fit in, work our way in, and enjoy. Although in this case we wouldn't be drinking on the job, but we would be making sure that it's safe and friendly.
And
Yes, perhaps, just to continue, perhaps then a safety plan along with this if council supports the idea.
So a couple of quick things on this. One, there was a grand experiment done, I think 7 years ago, and it was the DeKalb Corn Classic. And the term was coined free-range drinking, where you have the DeKalb Corn Classic, you got 800 people running that race roughly right now, and they offer the ability to be able to get a beer and hang out in Van Buren Plaza with no gates, no anything. I mean, Fatty's is there, making sure people are of age, right? Everything's done from that due diligence. But what would something like that actually look like? Would it get out of control? Would it expand? And it turned out to be, now for 7 years, an absolutely non-event. So then downtown merchants started doing, I can't remember where they do the wine and shopping.
Well, we had that First Friday thing for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So you could go and get wine, and you could drink, and you could shop that establishment, and you could go from business to business to business. And it's been a non-event. So I think the city has dipped our toe in the water of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe we're not ready to go to 11:30 at night, but there's first steps, right? First step, if we did it during, I'll call it reasonable hours, chances are the element that we might be concerned about is not going to be as active during that time. And that allows us, what I'm probably most excited about is our downtown merchants being able to create new events and new things that they want to do, that this is going to help facilitate. And we have the opportunity to see how it goes. And just like everything we do here, nothing's permanent. We can rescind it. We can take it back. We can change it. But I think there's enough case studies out there and communities that we can lean on for the public safety piece that you're talking about as well. We've already proven we can be a responsible community in many ways with some of the events that we already have going on. And this just allows a little more freedom for those kind of things to naturally happen. And then, of course, we can monitor and survey and see if it's something we want to continue. Alderman Carlson, sorry.
I just wanted to comment, this last Thursday, I went to Sycamore and they had Taste of Spring. And now there was probably, I'd say, 300 people. 97% of it was women. So it went great, no issues or anything.
What are you saying?
It did. It went great. And you got a wine glass, you went to Merchants.
Oh, yeah.
And they had flags out front that said who was participating in that. I figured it out within 2 seconds. And it was nice. It even rained, and there was no issues. It went really nice. So it's very ironic. It worked out great. I see it working the same way, as long as you can in the future tweak it.
Yeah.
But it's right in our back door just last Thursday night.
Yes, Alderwoman Zazada.
I'm 100% in support, super excited about what this could do for our downtown merchants. I just want to mention, I was at Earthfest this weekend, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I was talking with someone who was working on the sustainability plan for NIU, and it just felt like an interesting connection with this project because, like Alderman Larson was saying, the cups at the edges of the boundaries, right? And so the NIU sustainability plan was talking, the person I was talking to was talking about basically like having cups that you bring back. And so, and then they all get like a QR code. I know it sounds a little weird. I understand. I was like, what, who, how, it was complicated. It seemed complicated, but I don't think it's that hard. So I'm just throwing that idea out there too with this, because if you make it sustainable, it's a little more exciting, a little more modern.
Could be aluminum cups, reusable, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And make them reusable. So that's all. That's my 2 cents. I think this will go fantastically. I think that we discredit people's capabilities often.
Yeah. Alderman Powell.
I think it's a great idea as well. I think it's a good opportunity for downtown, make it a little bit more vibrant. I think as far as safety, the safety plan is the everyday plan, policing and monitoring like any other situation. But I think it's a great opportunity. The downtown needs a little bit more than what it has.
Mm-hmm. Alderman Walker.
Hey, thank you for cleaning it up. Some people have to drink because if you don't drink, then you just stay stagnant. Some of us, don't go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and people in my ward have been telling me we need something to do downtown. And if it's a beautiful day, I don't see what's the matter with doing, some of the things that I would like to implement. But you're right, it all starts there, though.
Mm-hmm.
You said it starts
Ground zero.
there,
Yep.
and we can tweak it. And I like,
Yep.
I like this. So.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Alderman Smith.
I agree. I do like the idea. I think where I like, maybe the term we're looking for is starting this with baby steps. Rather than going all in, ease into it a little bit, see how it works. But I think your plan will work. Maybe this is more for Scott. I know he's on Downtown Merchants Association. Would they take a lead on something like this, do you think? I mean, that would be ideal.
Some of them, I think, absolutely will be excited about the opportunity this is going to bring for some sort of events downtown, because we're already seeing it with some of the merchants now.
And I think
Yeah.
along with that, you guys were talking about, using Van Buren. Well, if somebody we have to avoid the conflicts, and I think the conflicts are, we can't have something down there if the Egyptians got going on. So I agree with you. How do we manage that, and who could manage that so we don't have conflicts? But I think it's doable 100%.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's not like I don't know why people just think it's supposed to happen overnight, of course. But no, I'm just saying, you have to work within a team in the city, and you can lead that, and put people in the right spots. So
I think it's really doable. I agree.
Yeah, and being cognizant of our stakeholders that we have right now, 100%. Yeah. Alderwoman Larson.
And I know that sometimes meetings aren't always well attended until people find out after the fact. They talked about what? And I didn't go. So I hope that whenever somebody has a meeting with the restaurants and the downtown merchants, because I really would like to get their input, since they're down there every day, every night, of what, okay, that's gonna be great, or let's do it this way. That would just make this vote so much easier to go through right away.
Like, totally invite you when we have that meeting with everyone to come, and, no, I'm not kidding, I know
Tuesday,
you'll
right?
come. Yeah, absolutely.
You know I
Yeah,
can.
so it will be meeting with all the different merchants and talking about, hey, this is what we're doing, how can we make this as successful as possible? Yeah.
We want it,
'Cause,
we want it to work.
I mean, you bring up the Egyptian, obviously, this council is so supportive of the Egyptian theater. Last thing we want to do is undermine anything that they're doing. But then you got Back Alley Market, what they're doing is mind-blowing. And in the farmer's market, they're expanding those hours. It's like,
And the back alley market is by local people that just
Yes.
started putting it together.
correct. So we can coordinate, I think this is just going to be enhancement and expansion of what the movement is right now. We're just giving them some more tools to be even more successful. Yeah.
Just pick their brains and make it successful.
Yep.
Awesome.
Go for it.
All right, any other comments or questions? City manager, do you have what you need to
I do.
go
I
forth?
do.
All right, so we'll have a meeting with
We will.
the downtown
And I
folks.
think we need to get the chamber involved in a big way here.
100%,
This
yep.
is a natural for them.
Yep, agreed. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, beautiful. Then moving on to, sorry, hang on.
Jay,
Who's
resolution.
here? Dun, 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 lots of signage. All right, J, resolutions. Number one, Resolution 2026-047, authorizing a consulting agreement with T.Y. Lin International Great Lakes Incorporated for a planning and environmental leakages PEL study, along with Union Pacific Rail Corridor between Elburn and DeKalb in the amount of $499,276. I love this agenda item. Can't wait to talk about it. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Carlson. City manager, it's moving forward.
Yeah.
Like a locomotive, really slow at first.
Yeah, like the caboose without a locomotive. But we're getting it. We're making some progress. You'll remember the gentleman's sitting here with a very handsome beard who was involved with Sam Schwartz Consulting back in the spring of '23 when the council was delivered when the company delivered a comprehensive study on the feasibility of extending commuter rail service to and from DeKalb. And one of the things that is part of that is a deeper study of that corridor that is to be the area where a third rail would be installed from Elburn to DeKalb. In advance of that, I will just say this is sort of an advertisement for our transportation department and to Mike Neuenkirchen. Back in 2019, we weren't keeping close numbers, but at that time, the annual ridership of persons that we could identify as using the Elburn service was somewhere a little bit over 3,100. Because of our use of our bus system, and with nice DeKalb buses that look like engines after a fashion, to get to and from on a regular schedule, a very expanded regular schedule, weekdays and over weekends. In comparison, in 2025, and it's still growing, that annual ridership rose to just about 43,000. So that's for those of you who are interested, a 1,257% increase. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And it's going to grow.
Shows some demand is out there.
It does. It does. And so there is meaning in this. It's not just a paper chase. It's a grant-driven project. The federal government is paying for 4/5 of this. It's a $500,000 project. We're putting in $100,000, which we have money for in our transportation budget for this year. We've been planning on this for the last couple of years. We'd like to proceed. Mike and his staff invited proposals. There were 3. What we thought was the best by a rating system that was developed for this purpose is Ty Lin International Great Lakes, which will help us perform the study according to the requirements of the grant program. And that will get us a little closer to identifying whether this is feasible or not. Now, it's a long way from actually building anything. And if you've been following the state media, you can see in Chicagoland media, you can see that in our state, those agencies that have something to do with the system that we would be tagging on to, Metra and so forth, are very concerned about the viability of their systems as is, not counting an addition. So there are going to be state-level discussions, there are already, to see what the umbrella will be going forward. But while that's going on, we had some confirmation this morning from an insider, I guess you would say, that it's to our advantage to go through this next step, because the closer we get to saying whether it's feasible, whether we have the money in hand or not, we're going to be going to others for the money, and they want to know how close are you to actually being shovel-ready, and we need to get this next step. So we recommend your approval.
Council, comments or questions on this one? Yes, Alderman Smith.
I guess I just answered my own question. I see we already have IDOT's pre-award concurrence, which is like getting gold. So I really recommend council we move forward with this. This is a huge if we've got IDOT on board. So I really, as someone who lives in that world, this is critical. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments or questions? Alderman Burbick.
Yes, as a youth in DeKalb that used to get on the train and ride the train, I think this is long overdue. And
Man, you
I
rode the
think
train?
that-
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there was commuter rail back then.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm dating myself, but yes, and I think it's about time that it returns. So I think the long-term city manager, from a standpoint of, you mentioned going to others for money, at what point do our partners, NIU, the DeKalb County folks, other governing bodies, that we need to be all in on this, or it may not happen? How does that look with our partners locally?
Well, we don't know what the ask is yet, so we'll know pretty quickly after we tell them what the ask is. But I certainly, to this point, NIU has been a partner in the applications for, and they have a very strong case to make, because they're the only state university that, a major state university that does not have commuter service to and from the campus. And we stand out. That's not a great way to stand out, but it also has an impact on decisions that are being made by young men and women and families who are looking at our area, and should we go here? Well, maybe we'll go to another place. So.
And equity is a huge topic this day and age, and for a major state university not to have commuter rail next to the third largest metro in the United States of America,
yeah.
It's insane. And Northern Illinois University, at the beginning when we did the first study, $100,000 or whatever it was, I mean, they were very helpful in the early stages of that, the conversations that we had a part of, and some of the personnel that they had connections with, yes.
I was going to say also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine.
I won't beat this to death, but I think it's important to note that as the state level agencies are looking, and regional entities are looking at the cost of future rail service, I think they're also going to be reviewing some of the things that were laid at our feet when we were thinking about what will it take, and we got to that $350 million number, because we were going to have 4 extra train sets just in case one broke down, and then the second one broke down, and the third one broke down. So there may be some economies that people will be looking at the state level. I certainly hope so, whether we are going to be involved in it ultimately or not, because sometimes you get the sum of all the fears of the people in the room rather than the sum of really logical decision making. There's ground to be gained at the state level and the local level, and we want to be part of it.
Thank you.
Council, any other comments or questions?
I'd just like to echo one more
Yeah.
thing.
Alderman
What Alderman Smith said, working with IDOT half of my life, you don't wait. While it's hot. If the money's out there and that, you have to get it going. If not, you will be left And our grandkids will be talking about building a train here. So I am all for this.
All right, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Resolution 2026-047 passes. Moving on to agenda item K, ordinances, second reading, we have none. And then agenda item L, ordinances, first reading. So we have a couple public participations. First of all, and this is on the commission's agenda item, Megan, is it Willis? Wheelis. Hey Megan, just a reminder, you have 3 minutes. And there's a friendly timer that should be visible to you.
All right. So good evening. I live in Ward 2, and you'll note that I have submitted an article from the DuPage County Bar Association on the topic of human relations commissions as assets to municipalities. I would like to encourage you to consider paragraph 4 in the article, which states, as the commission primarily concerns itself with unlawful discrimination, the members should reflect the community's diverse population and possess a wide range of experience in fields such as community advocacy, housing, and employment law. A good commission will strive to not only combat unlawful discrimination, but also prevent it. I agree that the qualifications for this commission should be more than a person being a resident of DeKalb. Where I disagree is with the limitations that the appointee shall be exclusively executive staff from local nonprofits, education, government, and religious organizations that are members of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. This amendment limits the scope and purpose of the commission and does not effectively reflect the diversity of DeKalb's residents. Also, it's a conflict of interest when these same nonprofit staff have to come in front of City Council and ask for funding from grants. I know this because I'm the executive director of the Literacy Connection and in Elgin. And like most local nonprofits, our resources are limited and the staff's energy is focused on the agency's mission. We work long hours with very modest salaries and carry a heavy workload. To ask a nonprofit executive staff member to volunteer on the Human Relations Commission without compensation takes time and energy away from our work. Also, while our nonprofit agencies do their best to serve an underrepresented population, their staff do not necessarily reflect that population. As a white woman in an executive position, I rely on the expertise and leadership of my Latino coworkers who are immigrants or from immigrant families. They work directly with our learners and advise me on best practices, cultural sensitivities, and current events affecting our learners. They too are leaders, and we work as a team. And I feel strongly that DeKalb's HR Commission should act in this manner as well. So I urge you to really lean into the strength of this town's diversity and turn towards the leaders in the Latino, African American, LGBTQ, Muslim, and other communities here and seek their advice and counsel. Let them meet regularly so they can create events and programs that effectively inform and proactively engage residents. Please avoid the status quo of past commissions and the limited amendments in this proposal. I'd ask for you to table your votes this evening and look for those who are change makers and experts living here, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Thank you, Megan. And I think we're definitely aware of the awesome diversity we have in our community and so many of the great leaders that we have. Next one, Amy Dahl.
Good evening. I am a Fourth Ward resident, and in full disclosure, I've talked with several people in the community about the proposed changes to the commission, including some on previous commissions. I also spoke with Ms. Wheelis, and we coordinated some of our comments to maximize our use of the 3 minutes. And I do agree with her comments and want to add a few additional notes. I think the proposed change to the Human Relations Commission that requires members be executive officers of nonprofit organizations that are members of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce is incredibly limiting. For example, in just my quick research, I found that there are 35 churches in DeKalb and only 13 that are members of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. So I wonder how many other nonprofit organizations might we be excluding if we make that change? So I think we need to be really careful about that change. I think the conflict of interest, and that is also a very real concern. I think we also want to think about that perception is just as important as the reality of that in that effort. In the nearly 12 years that I've lived in DeKalb, I can say that we are making progress towards being a city that embraces diversity, but we're not done yet. And now is not the time to take a step backwards. Now is a time to lean in and make an effort to engage with our community. I believe that democracy is very messy, but it is worth it. I also want to address the concerns that I have about the changes to the Citizens Environmental Commission. As a former ex officio member of this commission, I know that it has really struggled to find its voice and to be heard in the city. But in my opinion, these changes make it worse. The ordinance suggests to me that the commission will not bring issues to the council, but will just study issues that are brought to them by the mayor. I might ask if the data center was an issue that was brought to the Citizens Environmental Commission to study. I couldn't find any minutes that suggested that it had. And if not that sort of issue, what sort of issues might that commission consider? The ordinance does say that the commission is responsible for seeing that the city's sustainability plan is implemented and monitored for progress, but then it also goes on to say that there won't be regular meetings. So how do we monitor a sustainability plan without having conversation about it? There's also is a line in the proposed ordinance that has been struck that says a report documenting progress on the implementation and monitoring of the sustainability plan shall be submitted to the City Council annually for its review and comment. And it's no longer there. So if the Citizens Environmental Commission isn't providing a report, then who is providing a report? Are we still committed to a sustainability plan? And Alderwoman Zasada talked about the NIU sustainability plan, but what is our work on that? And how do we intend to work towards that? As I said before, now at this time in our history is not a time to take a step backwards, but to lean into making democracy better. And I think that we can do that here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, then, so we have ordinance number 1, ordinance 2026-012, amending Chapter 44, Landmark Commission, Chapter 46, Citizens Police Review Board, Chapter 49, Human Relations Commission, Chapter 50, Citizens Environmental Commission, and Chapter 68, Citizens Community Enhancement Commission of the City of DeKalb Municipal Code. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Carlson, seconded by Alderman Smith. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So back to the beginning of this conversation. So a couple meetings ago, I brought forth I won't call it a challenge so much as I guess the question, in that we have currently 14 different boards, commissions, and committees. What is the council's pleasure going forward? And I was reporting some staff concerns about difficulties in getting quorums and so forth, and boards and commissions that are volunteer wax and wane sometimes in terms of energy, and you know, life happens. People find things in their lives that may not be more important, but are more demanding, and at times when commissions and committees meet. So even allowing for that, in recent years, there have been some issues in that way that have posed the question for, at least at the staff level, what is our purpose? What do we see as the impact and the ongoing or long-term benefit of this or that initiative? So some of those boards and commissions, without any particular debate, everyone's more or less agreed that you know, state government or a matter of local governance requires that they exist, and pretty much as they are. In terms of state government, I'm thinking about our pension boards. There are defined roles and responsibilities that are beyond our ability to change. We have a building code review board which doesn't meet very often. Nobody really minds that until we have every 2 or 3 years to look at a new code series that comes out, a new version of the code, the International Code Series, which is the one that we have committed to. And then we get volunteers who are willing to serve. The mayor appoints them, they do their job. It takes 6 to 9 months, and then we're done for another 2 or 3 years. Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, another state-imposed construct, and it has certain roles and responsibilities. Our DeKalb Public Library Board, don't have to say anything there. We have a Finance Advisory Committee at the local level, which the council feels is important to play a role in the creation of the annual city budget. And they have 3 meetings, and we've had this system now for some time, predates my arrival here in 2019. I think it's working pretty well. So we didn't propose any changes in that. But there were 6 commissions or boards that we wanted the mayor and the council to give us some direction on. The premise here, at least from where I sit and where our staff sits, is are we encouraging purposeful debate? And I'll take exception to what was said here earlier, just before I started my comments. We're not looking to go backwards. We're looking to try to make our commissions and boards more lively, more invested in certain purposes that are identified for, not just for the council and the mayor, but for the public, and that will continue to inspire other volunteers to come forward and serve. What to do? One of those, the Economic Development Commission, the council had addressed pretty thoroughly back in 2022. We're not recommending any change in that particular local ordinance. The meetings that were being held at the time, they were very infrequent. It was very hard to get quorum, as I referenced earlier, and so the mayor, though, can call future meetings on an as-needed basis, and so we're not recommending a change there. Landmark Commission has not been a commission that people have been pushing to serve on for many, many years. Happily, the commission is not necessary for the council to take action on a local property that has a local historical significance. In fact, under state law, it is the council that recommends, as a body, making a certain local landmark designation. And that request, as I say, my background has to come obviously from the property owner. None of us can just drive by a place for that's a sweet place that ought to be on a historical record. Well, some responsibility comes with that, and so the property owner obviously has to be, under state law, informed and supportive. So all we're recommending is some tweaks. We'll call this the landmark designation process, and it otherwise does not change. There's public hearings that are required under the state format, and then followed by discussion in the council chambers, and whether it takes 1 meeting or multiple meetings, and then a recommendation. You'll remember, I think all of you, there was a recent designation of the very worthy Cook property on Augusta Avenue, the building that was the house we call it a garage now, that was built for the first president of NIU. So that's chapter 44. We're not recommending any other changes other than what I just detailed. Chapter 46, the Citizen Police Review Board. They are required, according to the current code, to meet no less than 6 times a year. I'm very pleased and proud about this, because in 2020, the police department and our city council and accreditation folks from around the state and around the region all worked in a collaborative way to change our general standard operating procedures, how we train up our youngest officers, what we expect of existing officers who are on duty and off duty have changed. And with the appointment of Chief Byrd, we brought a commitment to community policing that was something that we aspired to highlight rather than just pay reference to. And we've made great progress. And I think because of that, in the last 5 years, we've only had 4 complaints brought before that commission, and none of them were upheld in terms of what the board's duties were in assessing the complaint. But we have some trouble keeping quorums or meeting quorums. So what's proposed here is just simply that the board chair can still call a special meeting to address a citizen's complaint whenever it's brought to the police chief or to regarding any police officer. Or sometimes it might be a policy matter, somebody who observes something, not necessarily what they might consider to be an errant behavior, but something they just don't know and they would just want to come and have a conversation about. Just have to contact the police department. We have an administrative assistant who can explain when the body can meet and set it up. So nothing significant really changes there. The Human Relations Commission. There were some comments made earlier. I have to say that we've proposed, just as a starting point, 5 particular agencies, and actually 6, looking at also the religious community that serves our city and the county. And I'm sure if they had representatives here tonight, and maybe they do, I don't know, they would not be pleased to hear that they do not recognize diversity and that their staffs and their executive officers are not diverse. I think you have, before you say things like that, you should know the facts. So what's proposed here is to have people who are practiced and everyday committed to diversity, to fair and decent behavior, and committed toward helping those people who are victims of those bullies and others who do not share our commitment to fair and decent behavior. The qualifications for membership are proposed to change, but the commission, although not having necessarily any regular meetings, could be called by the chair of the commission at any time. I think there was some confusion. If people have read these ordinances, they'll see that the chairs of the commissions can call commission meetings. And the other thing we're looking for, and I think this is in line with what we're trying to do in our Positive for Patriotism, we're trying to find alignment between the people who are elected in roles to represent our community in a democratic way and those citizens that want to get involved, and particularly those who want to rise to a leadership position amongst their volunteer peers to be a chair. So that would require periodic meetings to say, how's it going? What are our goals? It was mentioned sustainability. So what are our goals? And we have a sustainability plan. And what are we doing this year? And what do we need to talk about, if anything? And do we need to have some more meetings to focus in on that? Finally, the Citizen, Chapter 65, the Citizens Community Enhancement Commission. This is frankly a prototype of what we're talking about. So this commission also had some struggles 3, 4, 5 years ago in getting quorums, and Scott Zach can attest to that as our liaison. But the commission found a number of purposes that has it very much engaged. The first was public art in our community, and Mayor Barnes was one of the key elected officials in our area who tried to highlight the need for more public art and the encouragement of people locally and also artists in our region to try to enhance not only the look but the participation of people in art in our community. And there are a lot of fine examples of that happening around the state and around the country. The other piece is our 250th anniversary the mayor challenged the commission, in addition to the art focus, to, and back in December, to plan ways that we can highlight the adoption of the declaration, and to inspire people to think about whether or not it still is meaningful to us. Does it still inspire us? And in what ways does it? In what ways doesn't it? So in other words, have community dialogue rather than better fireworks, more parades and so forth, and to try to keep that dialogue going. And I think what's at the heart of all of these changes in ordinances before you tonight is that inspiration. So I'll stop.
Well said, City Manager. Council, comments or questions? Yes, Alderwoman Zada.
Okay, I have a lot to say, so I'm going to try to speak quickly and get it all out fast. So I can't agree more with Amy and Megan's statements that they made. Absolutely agree with everything that they were saying. I see where the city manager is coming from. I've been serving on council for 7 years now, and I served as liaison between the council and the Economic Development Commission, as well as the Citizens Community Enhancement Commission. And when I started on council, we had 2 meetings at the beginning of council. We'd have a COW, which was the Committee of the Whole, and then we'd have this meeting. And early on, I talked to the city manager, and I was like, what is the point of these 2 meetings? Everybody's confused. They don't know when or why they're coming to which one. And I think we moved forward with narrowing it down. And then, you know, in the similar vein, we were working with the same situation with the Economic Development Commission. So I was serving, you know, like, I am passionate about economics. I love economics, right? And I'm like, yay, let's go to these meetings. But it was worthless. It was doing nothing. We were not doing anything. I know all of the people.
Not because of the people that were serving
Of
on it.
course,
Right.
not
Yep.
because of the people serving on it, but because it was sort of redundant with the, you know, DC, EDC, right? And so it wasn't super useful. So that one made a lot of sense. We scaled it back on the meetings and such. And so I will say that despite both of those views and understanding that we want to value our city staff's time and we want them to be as efficient as possible and not waste their time with superfluous meetings, there are a few that I just cannot see having a permanent change with. And a permanent change to saying like, oh, we'll just meet when the leader decides that they meet. And so those that I would be against changing would be the Human Relations Commission. I am the Citizens Environmental Commission. I think that the Environmental Commission has struggled to get support from the council, and as a result, it's made it sort of impossible for them to do anything. So I would really encourage us to look deeper into what the Environmental Commission has been doing and truly consider some of their ideas. And then, you know, the Citizens Community Enhancement Commission, you know, they've taken the leadership on murals in the community. They've done Paint-A-Plug. They've done the electrical boxes. There's a coming mural on Lincoln Highway. All of these things that the Citizens Community Enhancement Commission, it's a mouthful, has done are very significant. And, you know, I know that our city clerk leads that commission, and it is hard to get a quorum. And I would totally support, you know, him choosing like, oh, let's only have this quarterly, right? But I do think that there need to be some established in advance at the beginning of the year meetings planned for so that the community can plan to attend them, one, and so that there's actually an intentional plan to see that work is being done, and then yes, it can make it more valuable when there are fewer meetings. But I think they need to have some committed planned meetings for those specific groups, the HRC, the Citizen Police Review Board, the Citizens Environmental Commission, and for the Community Enhancement Commission.
And just Okay, City Attorney? I was going to say, for clarification, like, you mentioned the Enhancement Commission. If City Clerk and Chair of the Enhancement Commission, Brad Hoy, came to me and said, we want to meet every week, and I'd be like, you're crazy, no one's going to want to do that. He'd be like, no, here's why we need to do this to accomplish what we need to accomplish. On board, absolutely.
And just to clarify, all the proposed amendments do is to eliminate the requirement of a mandatory minimum number of meetings that were in the code. So it actually empowers the commissions because it says that they can meet as often as they choose to regularly meet, right? So they can take a vote and say that we're gonna have these regularly scheduled meetings. Then there's another part that says you're gonna have these special meetings if it's referred to by the mayor, and that'll be referred, as the mayor was indicating. The council, the committee chair will come and say, I want to meet once a week, and the mayor will say, you're crazy, right? But go ahead and do it, right? So.
And like to substantiate it, like even talking with the Citizens Police Review Board, and I talked with Chair Maurice McDavid, he absolutely was just like, that'd be great. Because if they have 12 complaints, then they're going to meet 12 times a year. But if they have 2, then they're going to meet 2 times a year. If he wanted to come and say, we've got 2 complaints, we're going to meet 2 times a year, but we want to do 2 meetings for training, awesome. But right now, we require multiple of our commissions, you have to meet, and the issue is, they're not. There's either nothing to meet on, or they can't get enough people to meet. And the amount of time and energy that generates, it's not necessary. And that's, to the city attorney's standpoint, is just trying to allow a little freedom for our commissioners and commissions, because Brad Hoy is an amazing chair. I know it firsthand. I worked with him on the Enhancement Commission years and years ago. Could be a new Brad in the future. Could be the Environmental Commission. Could be a new commissioner like Julie Jesmer right now is phenomenal, having her in the chair position of the Enhancement Commission. Those are going to ebb and flow, and it's really given the commissions the opportunity and the power to help determine what it is that they need to be successful. Yeah.
I do think having safe passage have a space on the HRC or the Police Review Board could be really valuable, recognizing that that's one of our highest elements of
domestic violence,
crime right now.
But
so
I would assume you would agree with the Family Service Agency as well?
Well, I mean, like, I can see it, but I'm just saying it is a conflict of interest. It's awkward. It's not.
But Safe Passage receives money from us.
Right. I'm just saying, like, because domestic violence is an issue is the reason that they would be, relevant there. But otherwise, I'm just saying it's very awkward to just say, hey, we're just going to use these organizations.
I've got Alderwoman Larson, real quick, and then I'll hit you, City Manager. Alderwoman Larson.
What I'll say about a lot of our commissions, and there are certain trainings we have to go through, like Open Meetings Act, FOIA, all that stuff. But we don't have necessarily informative, educational meetings about exactly what commissions are supposed to do. We even had an issue with, earlier on, when I first came on, about planning and zoning, that they were actually kind of voting like we would vote, and they're not elected by you. You, the city, has put us here. We are your voice, and we try to listen to whenever you reach out to us. And everybody, anyways. So sometimes when you get just Joe Public that shows up, they don't have a clue. Some of them really want to get on because they have a certain axe to grind with somebody. And so to try to pick from more people who are dealing with issues from our community, but know probably proper procedures, how things are handled, what is appropriate. That's why I look at that if we get from the business side with Hope Haven and different things, we're not going into all the background, what's happened before, and hopefully they're not having a personal axe to grind. And so I just feel it'd be a little bit more professional. So I'm okay with that. And back to how often they meet, I know planning and zoning, I know mandated they have to have a meeting scheduled, But there are times when you'll see something come through and say, planning and zoning is not going to meet because there's nothing on the agenda. So to me, all of these could almost be, you have a monthly meeting, the first Thursday of the month, or this or that, and there might be something that comes out a few days before, nothing on the agenda. So yes, there is one. If something shows up, people will know when it'll be. If you filed a complaint, you'll know when it'll be heard. But if not, it can just go out. There's no reason to meet. So that's kind of why my vote.
City Manager?
I think this might be a moment for the city attorney to explain what a conflict of interest is. There are certain prohibitive conflicts of interest. As an example, if executive directors of any of the community agencies that receive some of our human service grants were part of the rating team that makes decisions on who gets what and how much they get, that would be prohibitive. But when you live in a small town and you've got so many people who are working in the social service area and the public's interest, there is another grouping of people who may rub shoulders from time to time, but then from a policy standpoint and from an executive decision standpoint are not creating a conflict. And I'll let city attorney.
I'll echo it. It's not a prohibited conflict of interest, and the Human Relations Committee is being formed with the intent to be a policy advisory body so that they can't take what's called final action on anything. That can only be done by the city council. They would be given a mission or an agenda, so to speak, and they would come up with policy suggestions, right? But then those suggestions would have to be acted on by the city council. So if there was even what we would call an appearance of a conflict of interest, if it wouldn't be an illegal conflict of interest, but that would still go before the city council, and they were the ones that would have to act on that recommendation or suggested advice.
And a point of clarification too, it was brought up like putting this burden on the nonprofit community. I talked with the executive directors of each one of these organizations and some at great length early on about this idea. What do you think about it? Do you think it'd be effective? Would you be on board? And each and every one of them absolutely thought it was a great idea. Look forward to working with the 5 of them. At this point, can be more. We can expand it, just like we talked about in the last agenda item. This is just phase 1. We can figure out how to continue to improve the thing. But they were all looking forward to it. And I had heard some feedback on all these organizations already meet. They don't want to meet again. But I'm telling you, all 5 of them were excited about this opportunity, excited to serve. So they're in full support of what we're trying to do as well. Yes, Alderwoman Sada?
Yeah, I guess it's not so much that, but rather, and I understand that's why I was saying it was awkward. But I think the issue is more so that I imagine that whomever created the original Human Relations Commission really intended for the members to be part of the community. And I can't remember, maybe it was Alderman Larson was just saying something about, yes, it's nice to have professionals in roles, but I think that most of our commissions are highly professional, and we even go through the process of, collecting resumes and such often. So I do believe that the Human Relations Commission should continue as is, and it's going to be a challenge when new people aren't appointed to a commission to maintain its activity. So I still believe that the HRC should remain unchanged.
Alderman Burke.
Agreed, and I spoke at length at the last meeting, so I won't belabor the point of where I stand, and the speakers did an outstanding job this evening of describing exactly how I feel. And no different than the members we appointed this evening. Mayor and council, we did an outstanding job of reviewing those applicants for these committees, and I have every confidence that mayor and council would choose for the Human Relations Commission in particular, would choose those people that would be, to you pointed on, not just a resident, but someone that really wants to put forth an effort toward whatever the improvement is they seek, right? So I think Chad Glover summed it up earlier very well with the quote, those that are closest to the challenges. I think that that's what we really need to look at, and Alderman Zasada, you touched on it very nicely. So yes, the expertise of these groups, great, but I do believe the Human Relations Commission needs to be those residents that want to make a difference in DeKalb.
I love you brought up the ones closest to the issues. And I mean, when you look at these five, at least in my time as mayor for the last 5 years, if you want to talk about 5 organizations that I've regularly been in communication with, especially Hope Haven, Family Service Agency, and Safe Passage, they are the ones that are absolutely closest to this issue, or the issues that would be coming before the HRC. And one thing we all have to remember is they're all governed by a board of directors, which are regular folk in the community that get appointed to be able to give them guidance and make sure that they are able to achieve their mission. So what's fascinating about this concept is we're not just getting an organization that's coming forward that, one, is highly familiar with the issue, 2, highly familiar with what funding might be out there, what services might be out there to be able to address the issue, but they're also governed by a group of individuals that are passionate about those industries and are, like I said, regular folk from the community. So what we do, like, this isn't a suggestion that we're doing for every commission that we have on the city of DeKalb, but we've got some stuff we need to work through. And homelessness, I mentioned that before, is one of those things in particular. And for me, having that discussion, I'd much rather have it with Family Service Agency, Safe Passage, Elder Care, absolutely. RAMP is a component of that, but then Hope Haven on that particular issue, and what they see from an advisory standpoint would be the direction that we need to hold or take, rather than 5, 6, or 7 individuals from a variety of backgrounds in the community being the advisory council for something like that. Yeah, Alderman Walker.
Okay, so, there's a lot of moving parts here, but, so I did read this, and I do agree with the 1st and the 6th Ward Alder people, but I kind of, and vaguely kind of agree with this a little bit, but why couldn't we do this? Why couldn't we have, these organizations, for the people who want them, but then maybe add a few just regular citizens in town, and we could play with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, so it don't have to just be this or just, because I think what people don't understand is, and Alderman Powell and I, we both sat on the HRC and we did the Citizen Review Board, but sometimes people just don't care, people just don't want to come. It's hard in the town that sometimes you have to go out and beg people to do, services, for the town. But, I can't, badmouth any of those commissions or committees because that's where, I got my start, and I believe Alderman Powell did as well. But I think there is, we can meet in the middle, I do believe, because I do understand what you're saying about these organizations because they are on the front line as well, but there are just regular citizens that are on the front lines as well. So I think we can kind of come together and figure it out.
Alderman Powell.
City Manager, Chapter 46, you said that the chair would call the meetings, but on here it says the mayor will call the meetings. Did you?
Did you look in the ordinance?
No, I'm just going right here off the agenda.
Yeah, the ordinance is the key. That's what you're voting on tonight.
Okay. So it'd be the chair of the board to call the meetings?
Yeah.
All right, that's all, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Alderman Smith? Alderman Carlson.
I just wanted to comment because I was on the board of directors of RAMP 15, 20 years ago, and I was on the Citizens Police Review Board with Alderman Walker at its inception and with Alderman Powell after Alderman Walker became a council member. And if you both remember, from the day one, we changed it quite a bit, and I'll actually say you guys did. You brought up a lot of ideas, and we all voted on it, and we changed it as it went. But we did see some problems of sometimes a quorum couldn't, and I've never listened more in my life on a board. Why? I don't have a family. You guys do. It's an excused absence. I don't have a wife. I don't have things like that. So I had to listen to other people of how hard this was. And I understood, and I'm in contact now with some of the Citizens Police Review Board, just see how they're doing. And it's the same thing. They are having issues with quorums. So I see this as something good. I just don't want it to be something later on that becomes, it's hard to say. I trust every single one of these organizations. I think you said something, Alderman Walker, about if they appointed people. But I don't want to take the citizen out of Citizens Police Review Board. So it's one of those things that you're kind of at a crossroads, and I think I'm with you or I think I see it the same way as you, is we have to try some new things. And we have to trust the people that we put there, or the jobs that are there. And so when I first heard this, I really was excited about it. Then I started seeing some of the minutia, or whatever you call it. And I see the concerns, and I've talked to some of the people of the concerns. But I think that Alderman Powell just brought it up, and city manager of, it reads the mayor is like doing all this. No, I don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to, right? It's the chairman of each. And I know I trust Chairman McDavid. I was there for 3.5 years. You picked the best you could have ever picked, and I was on it the whole time. So I'm for this, but I think it's another one of those, we're going to tweak it as we go kind of thing and see how it is, correct?
Yes.
And I think that's where it is. The verbiage looks a little off, but I think the intention is correct.
And that's where the city manager refers back to the ordinance itself.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. And if it is, I've met a lot of these chairs, and I believe in them. I trust them. I know what they are. I guess that's my comment.
Okay. Alderman Smith.
Just a couple things. I think, City Manager, aren't all these meetings posted on our website? Don't we post them annually? I mean,
currently that's what we do, because
right.
we have, say, minimum of six,
right.
and this, or one every month and another, and so forth. And we do that as we would do for any public meeting. We have
I know, because they all
website.
come to my calendar. I selected it all, and they're all on there. So, yeah, I did that just to test, and it does work. Thank you for that. And the couple other things is, I worked with all of these agencies, every single one of them, some more often than not. They have quite an in-depth staff, I guess is probably the correct verbiage here. I think they solve a lot of our issues before they ever make it to HRC. I would be willing, that's something that
That's
never
why they're professional in what they do.
Correct.
So these are the people that at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
are maybe out there working
Right.
with our police, working with other agencies to help families that are in trouble, in peril, or individuals within families. And so it's not theoretical with them.
Right.
This is what they do.
Correct.
And so if you were, and the next day they may, without a lot of sleep, go to court and in behalf of somebody as an advocate, or sit in chambers with a state's attorney or a local judge. They are never off to, if you talk to the leaders, and really, all the staffs are devoted, very
Correct.
dedicated.
Yes.
They're working 7 days a week. So who do you want to judge, to make judgments, I guess you should say, because they're not court, but to make recommendations to you? First of all, a judgment is made, and then a recommendation. I think, ever since I heard this idea, I think it's sweet. In this particular area, most of the behavioral problems that we see from a city standpoint, which is mostly through the police department, are domestic violence cases.
Correct.
Domestic violence. It's a scourge. And the people that are working in these areas, and all 5 of those agencies are, in some fashion or another, are the people I'd like to have giving advice to the staff, at least. You can judge how you want it to be with the council.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I've referred countless people to RAMP, Elder Services, because those are for the exact resolutions you're talking about. I think that, someone may bring something along the lines to HRC. In reality, it's best served by one of these organizations. I think we have a very broad organization based in our town, like a lot of people have said here, and I think we need to dive into that. The other thing, the only thing I heard, and I've heard this over and over again, is that I would meaning citizens, would be on the commissions, but I don't want to go there and not do anything, i.e., go there and no agenda over and over again. That gets honestly old, and I can see their point. Like much to Alderman Zazata mentioned about the cow. I agree. What was it for? We were having a meeting, we were discussing the same things, we take a break, and then we start over again and still discuss things. So I think, I agree with everybody that this maybe is like I had mentioned earlier with the downtown issue, forgot what I was going to say there, but baby steps. We can change this if it's not working, but I think we need to have something to move us forward, if you will. So, and this is what I would call baby steps, and I'd be for it.
Do you mind if I say one thing first? Yeah, so to Alderman Smith's point, and I owe an apology to Alderwoman Larson, because she brought up the idea of having our religious community potentially be a part of it. And I have reached out, I played some phone tag, but I did it late. I've had something go on in my world that has taken a lot of my time. But to Alderman Smith's point, like, this is a great opportunity to bring the Human Relations Commission back. Anything we do in this group, everything we decide on can be changed, can be modified. This is a great opportunity to get this commission back up and running with organizations, and I know all of us think these are all amazing organizations, absolutely. Could we open it up to more? Absolutely. What I would love to do is get these 5, and we can reach out to the church community and see if they've got representation and we can modify. But the homeless situation, we're coming up on summer. I'd really like to have this group get together and start addressing that particular situation to make a real solid recommendation to council on the path we should take in order to address this particular issue. And this is one I've talked with multiple of these agencies about, and they're passionate about it, and they want to lean in on this particular topic. And to Alderman Walker's point, if we want to bring in individuals, we can always do that. I'd really love to see, try this, the organizations, and if we want to enhance and expand, and we can talk to them too, because anyone that knows Leslie, or anyone that knows Tanisha, right, anyone that knows the people in these organizations, they want to do what's best, and they're open to whatever help they can get. But the interaction, these are all professionals that'll be in that group focused on and understanding the particular issue and all the opportunities that are out there to be able to address it. I would love to just see, let's form it, let's get them together, let's give them something to tackle, and man, if we want to modify in the future, we can modify in the future. Absolutely. Alderman Walker.
Hey, so I just want to correct Alderman Carlson. You were a very strong component on that board, and we learned a lot from each other. I would say, just because you don't live in my world and I don't live in your world, don't mean that, we both don't understand what each other's been through. And that being said, I think, and again, I understand for the organizations, but just regular citizens, because look at all the stuff we learned about just what the police go through and all that extensive training we got. And not just that, even dealing with the HRC, learning about Chapter 10, and I think I got that down, like I got my agency. So I just think when you put citizens in, a position that love it and want to, strive, they can be here one day. And I think us 3 have, proven that. Now, I don't know everybody else. You've been here forever, but and Mayor Barnes, you've been on a lot of boards as well. So I'm just saying, if we take out the citizens out of it completely, then how do we know people that really want to love and be here one day?
And I hear you, and I do not disagree. It's one commission right now that I want to get going, and I want to address some real issues in our community. If I'm wrong, man, 6 months, I swear, I pledge to you, if we want to modify it and we don't think it's working, we'll bring it back. Like, I have no issue with that, but I'd love to just, as we talked about not too long ago, when I was running for mayor, I said it's going to be up to the next mayor to decide what this might look like going forward. I'm a year into it, and I apologize for taking so long, but I want to try it. But I do pledge, if we don't believe it's working, then you'll have my support 100% to bring it before council, and we'll talk about changing it. Yes, Alderwoman Larson.
Well, and just
Alderman Powell next.
one thing about regular citizens, to me, killing 2 birds with 1 stone with bringing churches in, because that's not their job, that's their devotions or
Mhm.
whatever. But that's just regular citizens. That one church, when we had the fire on
Oh,
Hillcrest,
yeah, they were great.
I mean, they were just
Yeah,
like
remember?
right
Yeah.
there. There's churches out there that are doing this on their own.
Mhm.
And so they have experience, but they're still just, they don't have a title. They're just people that really care about it,
Mhm.
and they have knowledge about it. So I think they could bring something to the table.
Yep. Alderman Powell, did you have your hand up?
I support it. I don't think this is the end of the HRC. I don't think we're ending it or shutting out the community. I think we're just kind of setting a new structure and building something, and I think it's a foundation that, you know, maybe these organizations come in and they set a structure that we can build on, and it's something new that we can build. What we've been doing hasn't worked. It hasn't worked in years, and I think it's just something we can build on, and maybe something for years to come where we bring in more citizens and just revamp it and just do it better.
Okay. Alderman Burke?
And I think to your homelessness concerns that we all have, that would be better addressed with the task force versus HRC, for example. Just a suggestion. So I would be all for that, but I'm only all for HRC if our residents with those expertise and competencies that we've talked about are included. So if we need a motion to add that, I would motion to add that we include those residents with human relations commissions, and the rest I could get behind.
We have a motion before the floor to approve it the way, well, we have a motion on the floor to discuss and approve what we have before us. Like I said, I've made the pledge. If we need to modify, we need to modify. I'd love to just, let's give this a shot, let's give it a try, and if we don't believe it's working, then we can go ahead and change it. So what I would recommend is, we've all had our talk, and I love this dialogue, by the way. This was great dialogue by council. But let's call roll. If it looks like it gets voted down, then we can figure out what we want to do next. Yeah?
This is only first reading today.
Yeah, it's only first reading, yeah. Okay. Can I have a, well, roll call, please?
Zazada,
No.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes. Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
No.
Walker,
No.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. So with that,
For you.
ordinance 2026-012 passes. I do want to reinstate or restate my commitment. If we don't think this is working, then we'll figure it out. 100% I'm on board for that, and that'll be my commitment to you all. With that, I would love, oh, yes, Alderman Larson.
Can I just make, just
Yeah.
from what you said, and maybe by getting something started, baby step, this group will say, you know what, this really would make even better or more sense, or what we need. Get those people at the table.
Totally.
And then maybe that will be the second step we take. But let's get them in a room and let them just brainstorm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with this, we have a majority, yes. I want to get them going. I mean, I really want to get them going. And we could wait another council meeting and pass it on second reading. I am not trying to run this through really quick. I just want to get this group started on homelessness. So if you don't mind, I would love to have a motion to waive second reading. And again, I recommit, if we want to make changes, we'll make changes. Promise you that. But I want to get this group started, and I've talked to this group, and they're ready to get started. So with that, I would take a motion to waive second reading. Don't have to. That's fine. Okay. So we're going to wait 2 weeks. All right. We're going to wait 2 weeks then. All right, with that, so as I mentioned, ordinance 2026-012 passed on first reading. That moves us on to agenda item M, reports and communications, city or council member reports. Alderman Verbic, you want to kick us off?
No report.
Alderman Carlson.
I got a couple of things. One, I want to apologize for missing the last city council meeting. Had a lot going on in my life. It's no excuse, but I'm trying to get things back on keel. The second is, and sorry that I have to always keep reporting this, but another Fourth Ward legend in my mind, Thelma Petros passed away. And I'll tell you, if you want to know if somebody's loved when visitation starts at 4 and there's people outside the door, and it ends at 7 and there's still people outside the door. That woman was loved. My condolences to her family. The other is, since the last time I was here, a lot of people have contacted me, called me, interested in the 4th Street corridor. It's just initial, but I got a hold of Alderman Powell. Him and I have talked to kind of see what they're looking at and everything before we either bring it to the owners or to the city. Then I mentioned earlier, I crossed kind of the fields. I went to Sycamore for a couple events. That Taste of Spring was pretty impressive. Also, they had a documentary on the Good Time Shelter. I would tell you all you want to see the history, because all of us kind of are DeKalbians and Sycamoreans, if that's what they're called. It was great. Big crowd, lots of people, and a lot of people, including the mayor of Sycamore, talking to me, and just getting a very good relationship started. So it was really good. That's about it.
Alderman Larson.
Just some sad news that several of us attended the visitation for our fallen firefighter. I was able to talk to his family and tell him how honored we were to have him as part of DeKalb's family, and all the wonderful nights of sleep that he and all of his fellow firefighters give all of us every night, knowing help is just a phone call away within minutes. And then just, Chief, blown away by the devotion the fire department shows to one of theirs who's fallen. Just words can't say enough. So we all feel the sorrow that your department's feeling.
Absolutely. Alderwoman Zazada.
I'll just echo the condolences that Alderman Larson has echoed or has stated, but no other report.
Alderman Smith.
Really, the only thing is warm weather brings out our traffic problems. Thank you, Chief. They've been hitting Sycamore Road pretty heavy, and yeah, it's doing a lot of good. So really, I appreciate it. Please pass that on to staff. Thank you.
Alderman Powell.
No report.
Alderman Walker.
No report.
For me, real quick, participate in the state accreditation of the police department. It's just one more opportunity for our police department to show just how well-run this organization is, and it was great to be able to talk with the representative about just all the wonderful things going on in the police department, Chief. Also was at Juan's funeral, and I heard from the chief how many of us have reached out. Some showed at the funeral, but I think everyone expressed their condolences, which I really appreciate, Council, because, man, the turnout was phenomenal from firefighters all over the region. It just shows the brotherhood that you all have and the respect you have for each other. Also had lunch with Chris Boyes, who is the president of the DeKalb School Board, just continuing to have that relationship and talk about future opportunities that are out there, but most importantly, just to make sure that there's constant communication coming between our two entities, since we're two of the largest taxing bodies in the city of DeKalb. And then last week, I went down to Springfield and testified at a committee hearing of the General Assembly on just data centers, and it was just sharing the experiences that we have had with Meta and what a great partner they've been in the city of DeKalb, just to be able to communicate that and the impact that organization has had on the city. So it was wonderful to be able to share that. City Manager. Anything?
If you'll indulge me, I'd like to yield to Chief Howison.
Yeah, absolutely. Chief?
Thank you. Appreciate this opportunity. Just on behalf of the members of the Gasca family and the fire department, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation for all the thoughts, condolences, support that we had from all of you, city staff, employees, in this community. It was amazing. You know, it was a sudden and tragic passing of firefighter paramedic Gasca, and I mean, we're a tight-knit family, and that's how we do our jobs, much like the police department. I'm extremely proud of our department members. They pulled together and they gave him a great send-off, and as you mentioned, we had firefighters from all around the state there to support us and support his family and friends. And again, just at the end of the day, it speaks volumes of the character of our department and the community we serve. And again, I can't, from the bottom of my heart, thank everyone enough for it. And we do have a long road ahead of us. There's a lot of our guys are hurting, and with the hiring we've done in the last several years, a lot of these guys actually grew up together. They've been friends since they were in grade school. And so it is a pretty thick family there, just outside of being employees together. So again, appreciate it, and it did not go unnoticed by our department members, so thank you.
Well, let us know, Chief, is there anything you need? Anything else, City Manager? No? Okay. All right, with that, I'll move on to agenda item N, executive session. I would take a motion to hold an executive session meeting to discuss executive session minutes as provided for in 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeek, seconded by Alderman Smith. Roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. All right, we are in recess of our regular session and in executive session. Thank you all for coming out.